Hi, welcome. This is Nutmeg Podcast. My name is Princeton. Paris Saint-Germain are champions of Europe for the first time after a commanding 5-0 victory over Inter Milan last Saturday in Munich in what was the most one-sided final in recent times. So, how did they do it? And are they really set to dominate Europe? Joining me today to do a discussion is Leroy Hodgson. Later on, I'll be joined by Sedinam Edmond.
Sorry.
Leroy,
Yeah, I'm here.
okay, so let's go. What's your take on the final on Saturday?
Okay, so what I would say is that PSG wanted it more. That's basically the main point. PSG wanted it more. They wanted to prove to the world that look, they are not nearly men. They are not people who they are not the same club that would get knocked out of the quarterfinals of the Champions League every year. They're not the same club that spends millions and billions only to only make it to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. They are a newly reformed team that focuses more on the team and building something concrete that will allow them to get to the finals and win. And them winning these finals is them saying to the world, we have arrived. This is our time. And the way they did it as well, the biggest margin victory in any Champions League match, just basically was basically just the star on top, just to let everybody know, yeah, this is not a game. We are one of the biggest teams in Europe. We are going to challenge again and again, and that's what they did. That is what they did.
Interesting. And if you look at the lead up to the final, the path for both teams, obviously Inter Milan had the toughest one. Yes, PSG had their own problems in the league phase, but I think that look before the game, it was clear that it was going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
So what's your take on how they started the game?
I would say that PSG went basically full force. Uh, they didn't allow Inter any space to actually play their game. They basically pinned them to their own half. I have to admit, Luis Enrique is a coach I've not really rated that much, but from this game especially, he has basically shattered all my expectations of him. He's made me realize that no, he's actually a good coach. He's a good tactician. He knows how to win football games. He is not the guy who comes after something that's already been built to win. He is someone who can build a team and take them all the way to the top and even win a treble on the way as well. But yeah,
Yeah,
people always say people always say the French league is always for PSG, but still, a treble is still impressive, and you have to give him props for achieving what many haven't.
yeah. We're talking about Luis Enrique, but on the night, impressive performance. In fact,
Yeah,
outstanding because to score 5 goals in the final is something incredible. And
it, yeah,
people say that people say that Inter Milan did not give them a match. For me, I said there it wasn't a contest, but it was because of Paris Saint Germain's game plan for the game to get 5 goal scorers, and the first goal scorer was Ashraf Hakimi, who's supposed to be a right back. He pops up in a box, and Desiree Doué, who is a right winger, is on the left hand side assisting him from that angle. It tells you how dynamic and fluent and the fluidity in that Paris Saint Germain team. It's so beautiful
Yeah,
to watch.
yeah. They are
So when
well
they
aware.
start,
Yeah.
yeah, when they start, it's a 4-3-3. Osman Dembele is in the middle of Kvaratskhelia and Dewey. But when they are playing and when they start the attack,
Yeah.
Dembele drops so deep. At the point in time, you see Dembele on the far right, Ashraf Hakimi has taken his position, and Kvaratskhelia is on the left, sometimes dropping back to support Nuno Mendes. It's a world rate team, as you mentioned, and
Mm.
Luis Enrique has built this machine. I look at how Usman Dembele is getting ready to sprint towards Donnarumma, Jan Zuma, when they want to start the attack. It's something that Kylian Mbappe didn't want to do for Paris Saint Germain, but Luis Enrique has managed to psych these boys to play for each other, to work hard, to press so hard. And it's not just the final. Before the final, there were games that PSG will suffocate their opponents. And the difference between the final for Inter Milan, the final, and then a game against Barcelona. They played similarly, Barca and Paris. But there's the fact that Paris Saint Germain did not give Inter the no space. They didn't let them breathe out of their channel. Again, Dembele sprinting towards the goalkeepers. Kvaratskhelia, he is the first line of defense for Paris Saint Germain, and this is a team that I mean people should watch out for in the season. But your take on how the final pan out again with what you've said, how did Inter struggle to create the chances and even have a sniff in the second half?
You see, when I look at the game, I felt like Inter just couldn't get their flow going, and sort of like they fell into the trap they have been setting for, let's say, other teams. Inter is a
Yeah,
team that I really love the way they play. I love the way Inter plays. They play a brand of total football that to me is just By the time you realize Bastoni is up front scoring, everybody is everywhere doing whatever, and I guess once a team starts doing that to them, they sort of lose focus because they are usually the ones who do it to other teams. So when it is being done to them, then it feels they get confused, I guess, because PSG just had them running all over the place. PSG had them not didn't really have any sort of flow during the game because of the way that PSG pushed them back into their own half and basically took control of the game in that sector. They just weren't allowing Inter to find any space, any breathing room. Honestly, I have to admit I was expecting a very, very close game, but Inter, PSG had really studied Inter. They knew what to expect from Inter. Teams who have struggled to find ways to beat Inter or struggled to beat Inter should go to PSG and find out what the hell they picked up so that they could also learn from it because they totally destroyed Inter's system and to basically destroy. Maybe because it's Luis Enrique. He's played under a tiki-taka, total football, so he knows how it runs. So he's able to figure out. He knows where the holes are that he can attack, and he did it so brilliantly. I have to admit, he did it to the point where PSG took out mid players to bring in academy prospects into the match, which to me was the biggest insult. That they brought in academy players to come and play, and they were still dominating Inter. And they scored a fit goal
yeah,
alongside it by one of those academy graduates. So
yeah.
it's just what they just destroyed
Yeah.
the team. Mm.
Yeah, obviously, as you mentioned, they really studied Inter Milan, and yes, of course, they had enough time to prepare. They had wrapped up the league title already with some
Yep.
4 games to go. Inter still had a lot to play for in the season domestically.
So,
In fact, they lost the league on a final day to Napoli. They were out
yeah.
of the Coppa Italia, and so the dreams of winning a treble was shattered before the final. So that was the last dance for a team that is very very old and experienced. This is the oldest team in the season. Inzaghi has had a lot of chances to win. Yes, obviously he's been to the final twice, but this is probably the last dance for him and some of the players. So Paris winning this, it's I think it's really special. Finally, this is a trophy they've been craving for, and I think that they also winning the Champions League tells us a very very interesting story that it reminds us of the fact that football is a team sport and
Yeah.
you need to build build a collective with a manager who knows what he's doing, who knows what to expect from players, who is able to psych the players and get what he wants. I think that Luis Enrique has brought um, something special to this squad because yes, they spent a lot of money on this group of players, these youngsters. I mean, about 60 million for some of the players, Kvaratskhelia, Bakola, even Osman Dembele from Barcelona. They spent money on these guys, but I think that Luis Enrique has brought that humanity aspect to the Paris Saint-Germain project. They've they spent a lot on the brand, and I think that in the past it was more of putting up a brand, Paris, the Qatar project, the glamour around it. So they brought in Di
The
Maria,
big
Neymar,
names, the big
Messi,
names.
Cavani,
Without
Beckham,
thinking about the
Thiago
structure, they
Silva.
just brought in the big
Yeah,
names.
yeah,
Without thinking
yeah.
about
I know.
the system and all of that, they just said, "Hey, who's available? Oh, Ibrahimovic. Let's bring Ibrahimovic. Hey, who's available? Messi. Oh, bring Messi. Mbappe? Bring Mbappe." They were really thinking about how it works, and I think, honestly speaking, I think that's what's happening at Real Madrid right now, because right now you have two world class left wingers that you want to play. You want to play both of them, but you can't play both of them. So you have to force one of them in attack in the number nine slot when it doesn't really fit his role. So you tend to have Mbappe and Vinicius fighting in the same sector for the ball, and then Bellingham would have to try and cover for both of them. It's horrible. You're sure you want Mbappe, but you have Vinicius. Vinicius is a world class left wing back. Sorry, left forward. He's perfect. You don't need it. You needed a number nine. Mbappe is not a number nine.
Yeah,
You
as
should have
for as
gone
for
for a number
Madrid,
nine.
yeah, as for Madrid, they in fact they win with that style, the Galactico style. So I think that's a different conversation. It's a
I know, but I'm
different
just trying to say that
and
the fact that PSG has seen that is actually a flaw. Just
yeah,
thinking about the big name rather than looking at the system, because immediately they
yeah,
decided that, you know what, we are spending too much money on big name players who are not really delivering. Let's sit back, let's plan what exactly do we want. Let's bring in a coach and look at that coach. What does the coach need to succeed? And that is what they did. They sat down and were
yeah,
like, we want Enrique. What does Enrique need to succeed? I need Vitinha. I need this. I need that. Bacola. I need all these players, young players, players that you would say have potential, but not really there yet. But that does not mean that they do not have the star players as well. They do have the star players still, but now they fit into a system and a play style that suits them, and to a point where you can watch PSG and be like, oh, this is a team. This is not a group of individuals relying on individual brilliance. This is a team that is playing together and knows what they want and knows the system they are playing.
yeah, and that's what Luis Enrique stands for. Even with his Barcelona side, he had to go all the way to have a rift with Messi because because of his own standards and his work ethics. So he was always going to stand on that. I remember before he joined Paris Saint Germain, Chelsea came in, but after the interview, it looked like Chelsea didn't want to give him what he wanted, the authority to sign players and demand and make the final decisions on who is coming in, how the team is supposed to play. Paris gave him that authority, and even with Kylian Mbappe's situation at Paris Saint-Germain. Remember the famous video he was lecturing Mbappe on him defending with the team, starting the defense for the team. Mbappe hasn't defended in his whole career, and it's something that he wasn't willing to do. So he said Mbappe is out, it makes us better, and he's improving right. Dembele has been shifted into the middle, and he is willing to do that job
Yeah,
for Paris, and they've won it. And that's why I'm saying that Luis Enrique has brought that humanity aspect to this project. It's not just about the players and the stars that you buy, but it's about on a personal level, how do you psych the players to play for you and win the trophy? So
yeah,
Paris made a very very good move by signing this man, because in all of this you need to get a winner. He's won it before, and I think that aside from that, if you look at the presentation here, so Javier Pastor, who is a former Paris Saint Germain player, is the one bringing the trophy onto the podium. Now, when the Qatar side started this project back in 2010, Pastor was the first player they signed. They
mm,
said they wanted to sign Messi, but Pastor was the new Messi, and so that is how it started. And interestingly, he's the man who comes on and brings the trophy that eluded the club for the past 15 years. So it's a very beautiful story, and I'm just so happy for Paris Saint Germain.
yeah,
Leroy, let's now focus on the the manager, the man himself, Luis Enrique. There was an emotional part of this story. His daughter Zana, who died age 9 in 20, I think 19, when he was leaving Barcelona. And I watched a video that she was questioning about the daughter. He said Zana came to live with us for 9 beautiful years, and she's still with us. We saw the T-shirt he switched, and
yeah.
the tifo the Paris fans did for him. I think that again that
It
reminds us
was,
of the
yeah,
essence of football. It's not just about the pitch; it's about the stories behind it.
yeah. It was a very, very beautiful sentiment sent by the team, by the club. It was very, very beautiful. You could see the tears in his eyes when he saw that and saw that the club came together to give him this. And I think it was a very, very, very beautiful moment. And I have to admit, yeah, I have to, it's just these things that make you love football, It's just these moments. Not really winning the cup. Winning the cup is always well and good, but when you see these moments, the moments of the Danish club taking out, taking up, what's his name? Oh, I forgot. I forgot his name. Plays for Manchester United now. Oh, I forgot his name.
Ericsson, you mean
Ericsson from
Ericsson?
the ground. Yes, yes, yes. Those moments, that thing that makes us love football. These kind of moments, it's really, really beautiful to watch, and I'm quite very happy. It makes you feel like, look, the club is a family. That's why fans get very, very upset when players that they have fought for, they have defended for years. Once they get their big break, then they decide to leave the club for money. Then that's why it hurts the club so much, because clubs are family. We are family, and we'll treat you as family. So that is what we want from our clubs, to treat us like we are one of them. Even if we come from Jamaica, Burundi, where when we come to the club, we are a family. And that is what
Yeah.
Paris Saint-Germain showed today. It showed on
Beautiful.
Sunday. Yeah,
Saturday. Yeah. So again, Luis Enrique, he is the sixth manager to win the Champions League twice with two different clubs.
yeah,
And he's joined the likes of Carlo Ancelotti and Pep Guardiola and all the other guys. Also, the only second manager to win the double treble. So the second time he's winning the treble
yeah,
for a club again with two different clubs, Barcelona and Paris Saint Germain. Pep Guardiola did it with Pep with Man City, and before that was Barcelona.
yeah,
I think he's now put himself at
yeah,
the
yeah,
elite level. Yes, I think he was already an elite manager, but he didn't have that that recognition
You would
until last
always look at
Saturday.
him as an elite manager, but you they still put him on the sort of level of, let's say, Pep Guardiola or at the level of a Carlo Ancelotti. We would always say, yeah, he's an elite manager, but he's not there yet. But this moment, that moment there, probably has shifted him to that level that, look, this guy is world class. He's one of the world class managers out there right now. And we can't be looking down on him any longer.
Yeah, and now he has a squad, very young squad. I mean, on Saturday we saw two youngsters scoring on the same game, making history. Desiree Doué with the brace, and
Yeah.
of course Mayulu came in on to give the squad a fifth goal.
Yeah, the last
How
goal.
important is it for Luis Enrique and this side? Is it something that sets
Very,
them
very
up to
important.
dominate Europe?
Yeah, it's a very, very important victory for them. Puts in the mindset that no, we can do this. Sure. The when I looked at the PSG plan, what it seemed like was they wanted to build, so they brought in these youngsters with potential, right? They didn't really go for the big stars. They went for the youngsters with potential, hoping that with time they will grow and develop into the global superstars they know they could grow into. The Desiree the Bakulas, the Vitinius. That's what they wanted, and they and you could say that they are ahead of schedule because these players have developed so rapidly. They've developed so quickly. Desiree is one of the best youngsters in world football right now. If I could get Desiree on my team right now, I would snap him up without a second thought. He is that good. So this team now with this victory can now put it in the can go with confidence, knowing that they can beat the big boys in the sport. They can beat the Real Madrids, they can beat the Barcelonas, they can beat the Liverpool, the Manchester Cities. They don't need to fear them anymore because they have gone all the way to the final and trashed one of the favorites in the semi-finals. They destroyed them. They didn't just beat them; they destroyed them.
Yeah, and they beat
That's a huge
five of
confidence boost.
English top sides. They beat
Yeah.
Arsenal, they beat Man City, they beat Aston Villa.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, and Liverpool, the Premier League winners. They in fact they lost at home and had the guts to go to Anfield and beat them and qualify.
Yeah.
It's a two sides of a coin. I mean, the two different stories in one season. The first half of the season wasn't very good for PSG.
Yeah. It
On the
wasn't
second
really,
half,
really
things
good.
changed. In fact, when the draw was done here, PSG had the toughest run in the league phase. We'll talk about the league phase, the new phase for the Champions League. But I mean, I didn't think that they will be in a good position to win this championship because they qualified on the final day of the league phase, and to me, it was like, how are they going to qualify? But things really changed, and they finished 15th in the league phase. How did the team that finished 15th in the league phase go on to win the Champions League?
Dude, that's what I have to like when the new format for the Champions League came out, right? I was against it. I was like, you these guys just want more money. You don't want there's nothing of substance in this system. But this system is enjoyable. It really is. It really is. Look at the teams that dropped out of the league phase. Look at the teams that had to go to the knockout and to the playoff phase. And look at the teams that qualify. It was enjoyable. I have to admit, this Champions League season to me is one of the best I've seen. It's one of the best I've seen. It was really enjoyable. And we all hated the idea, but I have to admit, it was really, really enjoyable to
Yeah,
watch.
yeah,
The teams we
it's given us
expected, yeah,
some special moments and special
yeah,
memories, and a lot
yeah.
of them. I'll ask you at the end of the show your best moments or best game. But with Paris Saint Germain, again the format is something that is very interesting for me because as I said, they had the toughest run. They had to play City and a lot of big guys.
Yeah, they have
I
to
think they
play
played
Arsenal as well. They even lost to Arsenal in
Arsenal.
the
They lost to Arsenal. In fact, they lost
league
five
phase.
games. They lost five in the league phase before qualifying into the knockout run. So, and outside the pitch, someone like Nasser Khalifa, who was a front liner in opposing the Super League and making sure
Yeah,
that the Champions League remained, ended up getting wanted to back out of the Super League, the Champions League that you've been praying for to continue, has thrown up this tough challenge for you. How are you going to deal with it? And
well, they
it
dealt
was
with
it
it
was
very
massive.
well.
Let me welcome Sedi to the show. Sedi, thanks for joining us.
Charlie, thank you. Yeah, sorry for my voice. I'm under the weather, but Charlie, we got to do this. Sorry for my voice.
Yeah, sorry and sorry that we are disturbing you today, but thanks for showing up. Uh, what's your take on the Champions League? Paris Saint-Germain winning for the first time, 5-0. Tell us about how you see this.
Well, I would say, I had a video out just when Paris Saint Germain were about to play Arsenal. That was to say that Paris Saint Germain were going to go right up to win it. So with them winning it, I say congrats to them. For Inter, theirs to win was the Serie A, and they found a way to make Lazio mess it up for them at the latter stages. So once that was out of the window, and they found a way also to lose to AC Milan, who were literally going to do nothing with that trophy, it meant that they were in the giving mood. So meeting PSG, they just had to find a way of also giving that one away. I would say I feel Enrique prepared the boys much better, and Inzaghi just thought that he being the master of rotations, it could work. On the night, there was absolutely no rotation. I was looking out for that and could not find any form of rotation from Internazionale. PSG really prepared for it, how to mark them, not mark them, but how to actually press them. The moment kickoff happened, that's when I knew that we're in for a treat, because kickoff happened. I was on a watch along. The moment I saw, I was on my phone, and then kickoff happened, and I asked who kicked the ball, and then they said Paris Saint Germain. I just laughed. I laughed because PSG have gone to a place where they now see kickoffs as set pieces, and they always use them wisely. Look at what they always do with kickoffs. When they get a kickoff, they don't pass it back. They make sure they
Yeah,
balloon it into an area where they begin an intentional press.
yeah.
So
So they
they
kicked the
don't
ball outside, and then there was a throw in
exactly.
for Inter. It means that they are
Yes.
going to press Inter
They
and
want
start
that
the
throw
defense from
in
there.
so that they are able to start that press that is needed. Do you get? They really need
Yeah,
that. And so the moment you pass the ball off them, it doesn't work. But for me, listen, kudos to Enrique. He really worked hard for
yeah,
this, and he really got the change on. He got the hierarchy to believe in his style of doing things, and it has paid off big time.
yeah. So they've won the treble. I think it's something that we have to highlight. And for Luis Enrique, the only second manager to win it twice. That's incredible. Where does this rank amongst in fact, the best teams that we've seen in recent times? The Barcelona team, the Man City team, the Man United team. Where does this team rank? Do you think that they still have a lot to prove?
Yeah, Preston,
Hello,
are you
sorry.
waiting for me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, so it's quite simple. I would say they really rank high up there. Why am I saying so? For a club that one season went on to purchase Neymar, went on to purchase Mbappe for a horrendous 120 million, whatever coins they decided to add, went on to also bring in Messi. they've practiced the Galactico way. They went the Real Madrid way. It did not work for them. They have now decided that okay, we have learned and we can do things in a mixed fashion. So let's mix it up. And they've mixed it up, and it seems to be working for them. I feel we rank them up there. People might not agree, but I would say they're really really high up there. Even to me, this is a much better squad than the Manchester City team that won the treble.
Really?
And I'll give a reason for it. Manchester City had players who had actually tried a couple of things somewhere. You know, the likes of Haaland, it had worked somewhere for them. We knew the quality of Kevin De Bruyne. We knew what Ederson was about. We knew what that back line would give you. We literally knew what the City team were about, and we knew every quantity in there. This is much more of a team who are sort of I am sorry for the Chelsea fans who much later see this, but this is an elite version of the Chelsea squad. Honestly, elite version of the Chelsea squad in the sense that they are all about the same age. Chelsea is going around buying talent. You've got Luis Campos rather scouting for talent in their league and making it count. So for me, it is the scouting, working with the coaching that puts them high up there for me. That's why I'll put them above the City squad. You can't tell me that
Interesting.
which striker or which forward in this particular Paris Saint-Germain team would we compare to Haaland when he joined Manchester City? Absolutely none.
Not at all.
None.
And this is a team that is without proven goal scorer and out and out striker. Obviously, Mbappe left, and so it meant that the number of goals were going to reduce. But when you have a team that is well drilled and know how to create chances, and when they are clinical, in the first half of the season, Luis Enrique said they were not clinical enough. But in the second half, they've managed to put a lot of goals behind the nets. They scored, I think, 10 against Brest in the knockout round. They scored 4 against Arsenal, and on the final day, they put up 5 goals. That is a team that is well drilled. And I think that on the level of the playing style and implementing the style on the field of play, I think that they rank very high. As I mentioned earlier, this is the first time we're seeing a team so dominant in a final against their opponents. They made Inter look like Inter were just there to participate in the game, and it wasn't the fault of Inter. It was because Paris. It was they were perfect in their execution, and I agree that yes, they are really up there. What about um the head coach Luis Enrique? I was asking Leroy about his achievements so far. He's now joined Pep as the only manager to win this treble twice.
For me, I would like to say I admire his decisiveness so far as a coach. How he has been very decisive at the club. This is a club that also, like you mentioned, maybe they might not have an out and out goal scorer anytime they are starting, but they have one on the bench, Goncalo Ramos. They
Yeah,
actually also let go of another one, Randall Colomwani. I think he should be biting himself wherever he is in Italy. But his decisiveness, being very, very decisive and going like, yo, Charlie, Neymar, if you ain't going to defend, the moment you say you go. And he stood by his words. Kolomwani, everybody thought that Kolomwani is a French star and he needs to have the opportunity to shine and those kind of things. Kolomwani, you aren't playing nothing. Ship out to loan. The Goncalo Ramos, okay, Goncalo Ramos, it's not working. You sit on the bench and start playing from there. His decisiveness is what it is that's working for him. Having the courage and being very decisive to bring in Joao Neves from Benfica. buy him for all the amount of money, low key under the radar, plant him in your system, bring in a Vitinha who plays as though he's now a youth. Like, sorry, he plays as though this is the first big team he's playing, or this is the first big league he's playing. People forget Vitinha has played in Wolves and it did not really click for him there. You get, so that
He failed.
decisiveness.
He failed to break into the team.
Hey, if you talk about players, it's okay. Let's continue. Let's stick to this one because you want to go to slippery places. But I feel
Right.
for me, he's
Right.
always been
So
a very good coach.
let's
He's been a very good coach. But it's his decisiveness at PSG for me. That's what has really worked.
yeah, yeah. And I think that his his work ethics is so disciplined. He didn't mind leaving Dembele behind when they were coming to Arsenal for the league phase game. Dembele decided to change and look at him now. He's contending for the Ballon d'Or. Let's move on to onto that. Speaking of the Ballon d'Or and all the awards this season, so let's start from the Champions League here. Dembele was the player of the season. He scored 9 goals, right, for Paris, and he beat Rafinha, who's the top goal scorer, 13 goals, and also the likes of Lamine Yamal and other guys. What's your take on that award? In fact, Desiree Doué he's won the Young Player of the Season. I think his is the most controversial. I believe that it's because he's on the winning side. That is why the critical observers they are the decision making body in terms of the award. I think that's why he's won it because if it's not, Yamal has been a better player. I mean the youngest best player in the Champions League.
Princeton. So the title, I'll
Said
start off from the Desiree Doué. The title of the award is Best Young Player, not Best Youngest Player. So once it's Best Young Player, there is an age category for it. Luckily, we've got two teenagers who are performing fantastically well. I always say this: football fans are fickle. Football fans have a tunnel vision. It's either you fall in their small vision they are going with, or you are not in it. Desiree Doué did not fall out from the skies. Desiree Doué is someone who has also been created to play in the way he's playing. This is a player who has been coached by Thierry Henry already. Thierry Henry coaches him at the national side. He went into the Olympics and left a mark. Now he comes into club football, starts playing, has a tremendous season, has a low-key good season, and then shines when it is the best time to do so, having 3 goal involvement in a UEFA Champions League final. And you want the the award to be given to Yamal, whose team, number one, you and I know that players have performed wonders in group stages and have gone home. Whose team did not make it to the final? Do you understand? And once his team did not make it to the final, it puts him at a disadvantage. We were here when we felt that Lautaro Martinez should have been in a conversation for Ballon d'Or. No one even mentioned his first name, Lautaro, let alone Martinez. So when you say it's because he was on the winning side, I beg to differ. Desiree Doué deserves what he's getting. Yeah, if you tell me they gave the Young Player of the Year award to Mayalu because you comparatively compare the number of minutes he played versus the number of goals he scored, then you would say, oh, he's the best young player, best youngest player. But no, they gave it to someone who has also been performing. Prior to the game, his name was being mentioned. It is not out of the blue. His name was being mentioned and he stood up to the task. I feel when it even comes to play, that is where I would like to have that conversation the more, where we talk about his technicality versus that of Yamin Yamal. Yamin Yamal, I don't want to predict, I don't want to preempt, but I feel Desiree Doué has a higher ceiling than Yamal, but we are not awarding ceilings here. Desiree Doué was fantastic in Munich, in the Munich arena on that night, and he deserves that award 100%. Please let us leave Yamal to rest at home for now. When you say, and then people will be mentioning Yamal for Ballon d'Or, I feel it's too early for Yamal to be in the Ballon d'Or conversation. If we are talking about players who come on and have a purple patch, for this one, we'll say this is Yamin Yamal's sort of full maiden season. For us, it is a purple patch. If football fans will be truthful, for us, it is a purple patch. We have seen players play better than this in one season and not win the Ballon d'Or. Let us not begin to change the rules because it is our favorite or we are looking at the age of the player. No, let us allow for consistency. Ballon d'Or over the years have proven that it does not come off as just one season and then it works. It is like consistency over seasons. Then eventually they get to give you in one season where it peaks the most. This is that is the reason why I am not going to entertain the Yamin Yamal Ballon d'Or conversation. I'm not also going to entertain the Desiree Doué, what is the name, Ballon d'Or conversation. No, no, no. So we can have that conversation. Golden boy, they can go slag it out. Fine. But when it comes to Ballon d'Or, I mean, I'm not pleased. He's not in that conversation. We will say he had a purple patch season. We've seen strikers go on and have amazing purple patch seasons and then disappear in the next year. We've seen the likes of Sebastian Haller. Now, I'm not no way, shape, or form comparing Yamal to them, but we need to have it behind our minds that we need to take this into consideration as a purple patch. When you tell me that he has gone ahead and played in the Euros, I also tell you, and he went to the final of the Euros and won it. Desiree Doué went to the last part of the Olympics as well, and I think he came second in that competition. So, I think, I think so. So, I beg to differ on that part. But now, talking about the Ballon d'Or contender, that is Ousmane Dembele. Ousmane Dembele has been in the conversation right from I think the knockout phase. That's when PSG actually clicked into gear in the Champions League, and for me, it's something that um, has been long coming. We saw Ousmane Dembele at Dortmund, what he was able to do, but during his time at Barcelona, injuries hampered the season. I'd like to say congratulations to the Paris Saint-Germain team for getting an entire season out of Dembele. I don't know how they managed to do it, but some teams have been able to get full seasons out of players who we thought were injury prone, and we need to revive our notes on them. Some seasons, some players, some teams have been able to do that, and I feel we'll have another opportunity to talk about such teams and such players for all intents and purposes, to help educate the public and also inform them with what I always say goes on beyond their tunnel vision, where they are looking at only some things, and it really doesn't augur well when you speak things that goes against the regular norm, but it's the truth. But for Ousmane Dembele, back to the matter, I feel he deserves it. If we say top five European leagues, we might rank some ahead of some, but it's based on the coefficients and other factors which is not controlled by Dembele. Dembele had to do one thing and did it perfectly: win trophies that he participated in with his club. And has he done that? Yes, he has done that. So now let's move forward. What other criteria is there? One thing people don't also get is this: the whole Ballon d'Or conversation. It is someone's perspective. We need to also look at the origin for Ballon d'Or. Once there's a Ballon d'Or in the conversation, there's a French player in it. All of a sudden, the French player jumps into utmost contention over others. Not that he's not good, but for me, I feel he deserves it. If Liverpool had gone far in the competition, I would have still been crying for Salah. You bring Salah in, I still make a case for Mohamed Salah. That he also deserves a shot at it. Top three players in the year this year in the European football to be considered for Ballon d'Or, especially, would be that Usman Dembele, Mohamed Salah for the records he broke and what he was able to achieve with the most difficult league in the world. Now, you can't tell me it's not the most difficult league if you've got the 15th position and then the 17th position fighting out for the second tier European competition final. There's no reason you can tell me that. And you've also got someone who finished fourth winning the conference league. You can't tell me you can't tell me it's not the most difficult. Yeah, so it's not neither here or there. So Salah in there, and then you want to bring in brilliance of the season, maybe Rafinha, but you might want be looking at goals. Then you bring in Kylian Mbappe. There are a whole lot of names that can come in, but two tops, I'll go for Dembele. He's been terrific, and then certainly Mbappe. Well, looks like the connection is not helping. So, guys, let's know your contributions down there. We'll pick this up and we'll finish this particular conversation pretty shortly. Don't go nowhere.